Good morning. Happy Father's Day for all the ones who joined and who are going to be listening later. Today we're going to talk about Annexus guaranteed income product. So today, before I go do that, I mean, again, last week we had a presentation, so that's why I wanted to maybe cover a few slides from the presentation and then go from there. So mainly, where does this fit? Let me go to this one. So first of all, fixed index annuities fits here with the principal protected. So all these below this line has your principal safe, 100%. And the above one here are the ones you have risks. You may lose principal. Again, the same thing, you may make more money or on the other side, you may lose your principal also. This fits exactly, you get the most returns and your principal is protected. That's where we're focusing on. Again, how do they do that? Same thing. When the market is up, fixed index annuity is not exactly the market. Again, depending on the indexes, right? What indexes we choose. But if the market is going down, you would not be losing anything. So that's where we are taking the value. Again, we are not saying put all your retirement money here. Again, if you are looking for guaranteed income, that's the only money you want and have, sure. But this is a diversification of having your portfolio. So normally when people go into retirement, they say, you know what, from my portfolio, I want to take 4% out every year. So in that case, people have a equities and a bond portfolio. We're going to look at an example later. And this is an alternative to the bond market. You don't need to use, you can still invest in stocks, but instead of putting in bonds here, this is where you want to look at this, putting money in your fixed index annuities. So today, I'm going to mainly go into the illustrations part of it. So let me just switch to the browser. So I'm going to my Annexus. If you have access to Nationwide, you got an appointment to Nationwide, yes, you do have access to Annexus. And if you don't have a username, you normally use the forgot password, and then you should be able to just log in. And once you have access to the to your Nationwide, you got appointed to Nationwide, you should have access to my Annexus. So let's go log in. Again, this is what we're focusing on is the guaranteed highest income to date product. And if you want to share it with your clients, hey, this is a new guaranteed product. Again, we want at least a part of their income besides their Social Security. What is the guaranteed income do they have? What do they need? So recently I have closed on a one client in Massachusetts where this we did the financial need analysis and we came up with he needs about $7,000 per month when he retires. So we looked at his Social Security. He had about 3,500. So what did we do? We went to the income tool calculator. And based on that, this is the one you can actually share it with your clients. If you don't have the link, we can share it. I can put it in the chat for now. If there is the chat, and hopefully most of them should have it, but I'm going to add it to your chat right now. And let's say this example, in this my example, this is it. So actually, I have the other way around. So there's two examples here. I have a lump sum, how much money it's going to generate. Here, my use case here was, hey, the client wants $4,000 per month. That means $48,000 per year he wants. And he was a single income. He's a single guy. And his age is 57. And he wants to wait until 10 more years, his full retirement age. That's when he wants to start income. So this will actually calculate how much money do we need to roll over so that he can get that guaranteed $4,000 per month. So if he rolls over 305,307, he will get that guaranteed $4,000 per month. Guaranteed. Again, if the market does well and more, he may get more. This is the one. So if you want to share something, first thing is let's share this flyer. This is one of the flyers here. I'm going to put this also in your chat window that explains you what we are offering here. Okay. plan for guaranteed income. First of all, with guaranteed income, the company has to exist, right, to give you. So yes, this is one of the best strengths of Nationwide. What is the ratings of this company? Next, what are we volatility in safe alternatives? Market downturns, what are we doing? Longer retirement. So the biggest risk for retirement is longevity, right? So this is what we're covering here. Again, it put everything here is benefits guaranteed. The word guaranteed, they cannot use it, right? Unless the carrier is telling you and they're going to give you. That's what they are actually printing this in guaranteed income. And we can ask them, hey, how does it happen? If you get the bonus, and then every year it goes 9.5 guaranteed for the next 12 years. So if this one, I have a peace of mind, I don't have to worry about the client. Oh, hey, what is the return this year? What is the returns next year? And there was a use case here where how much this client. So you can share this PDF also, right? One more thing I saw here is what does that mean? When you're saying I'm getting this 9.5 returns, what does that actually returns to? Is first year with the bonus, right? You put $250,000 in. Again, I'm going to share this PDF also. Let me add this. It has that 30% bonus. That's why your 250 becomes 325. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Right? And then first year, if you look at the value, so this is what we're going to use after first year. If they want the income, we're giving income based on a 42.35% growth in the first year itself. So that's why if they want income, it's better to wait after 1 year at least to start taking income. Now, if they wait 2 years, if you look at the average compounded growth, 24. 3 years. So basically, first year, since you have the bonus, even though we got 9.5, it feels like we got 42% growth. So if you look at the 12-year, 11.92. So we normally, who will guarantee you 11.92 growth, compounded growth? So that's where the value of this one comes into. And based on this, you're going to start taking the income. Right? Okay, sorry, I didn't. Any questions here? Good. It's easy to understand, looks like. Okay. Now, let's look at the last flyer before I go into illustrations. Here, what they showed the example was, I'm going to share this flyer also in your chat window. Let's see this one. Okay. Here is an alternative to traditional retirement strategies. What are the traditional retirement strategies? Basically, once you have a lump sum, here is an example where the traditional boy growing at 6% growth and 4% annual withdrawal rate. Again, everybody is talking about is what is the safest way to withdraw money from your portfolio and not run out of money? It's 4%. Recently, I'm hearing on the news there that you could go up to 4.7%, right? Because based on how your strategies are. But if you take a 4%, so you're getting 6% growth and you're taking 4% returns. How much would you be getting? It's very good in the 12th year. But if you have a lifetime income strategy where you turn on the income, now this is where again, if the client is 60 plus, he can turn on income whenever he wants. He doesn't need to wait until 70, 70, whatever. Right? Whenever he needs income, the longer he waits, the yearly. And so once the income starts, this income is not going to go down. Right? So that's why the longer he can wait. Other carriers, you had to wait until 61, 62. Here, if I waited, like say 61 and a half, I would be getting something in between. So it's always a great idea to look at that. Right? So this is another file. So these are the three things that you could share to the clients and see how our guaranteed income product will help them in securing their retirement. Again, the one question you need to ask is how secure is your retirement? If you know if you have a lot of the client I was telling you, he wants to know for sure in 10 years he has enough savings now, but I say, hey, I'm going to work for the next 10 years anyway. After that, I don't want to worry about retirement. That's where the use case comes in. So with that, let me go back to the illustrations. So again, okay, so let's look at this one. So first client illustrations. Maybe I'm going to start from the beginning. So I was planning to take one of those. So Georgia. So, and here I have this option of selecting different products. So let me take the maximum. Again, in any of the products I choose, depending on when I'm taking the income, the guaranteed income is going to be same, exactly the same in any product. So why am I taking a longer period? Again, the longer years means the more means this is a long-term product, meaning is the client is planning to take guaranteed income. If I take it to 8-year product means after 8 years, if he has a change of heart, say, you know what, I'd want my lump sum, whatever the growth money back, and I may want to do something else, he could do it after 8 years. If I choose 12 years, he has to wait for 12 years. Why am I choosing 12 years? Because the 12-year product has the indices, has more participation rate. The longer you wait, again, the guaranteed income exactly same. We'll look at an example. So I have run that. So let's for now we'll take one. And especially the one which is 9 and 12. 9 and 12, they have a 3-year indices compared to a 1 and 3 year indices. So you can take a 1-year index or 3-year indices. But if it's an 8 and 10, you only have a 1-year or a 2-year indices. Of course, 3-year indices have more participation rate. So that's why to maximize my growth, I'm taking the 12th. So, and then mine is a qualified fund because I'm rolling over from my 401k, right? And I want the income for life rider. If I don't add, this is just like a growth product. There you're not getting any guarantees, nothing based on the indexes you'll be growing. And rider options is the first option is bonus guarantee plus accumulation after 1 year. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to take, let me see what example I had here before. I had one example. I'm going to use the same example in this one, I guess. So both are, for now, I'm going to just take an example where both the clients are 50. So I'm going to say joint and I'm going to put a $500,000. And let's go to the next. It's male 50. Again, I'm just putting the name so that it's easy to understand. Male, female. 50. Okay. So both are 50 years old. And I want to take income after 10 years. So 61. Actually, 10 years of difference. So he's 50. I want to take income from 60. So here you could say equally weighted indices. You can say this one or one of these indices. You can choose one of these. But I like to build my own indices. So and I did this before. And I looked at what are the indices that is giving me more returns. And I can choose. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this first now, and then I'm going to change that. So here there is options here. Year 1 year, 1 year, 3 years, and 3 years. So the difference between these two here is the charge, how much if the based on the then the spread meanings if this index it does 0.75, you don't get anything returned. But anything more than that, you'll get here, whatever the returns you get based on that. Since you're giving me away 0.7% spread, the participation is 300%. Meaning is we are going to multiply this by what are the returns by 300. Let me go back to this one slide where I can explain you what these are. I think I already had one example, but let me see 1 second. If I can find that. Maybe I did this. Sorry, guys, once. Hopefully, it means cap strategy. Most people know how the cap works. The next one is going to be is based on the participation rate, and the next one would be based on the spread rate. So these are different options. So sorry, I didn't have it in this presentation. I was just looking at it. But anyway, I'll come back to that. So for now, we're going to just take this one equally 3 years. I'm going to put everything in these indices. And once you select it, if you want, you can change it. Hey, I want this one more. You know what? I want to remove this one. So what I want to do is I want to look at the returns, and based on that, I can adjust it. It doesn't matter what indices you choose. This is non-guaranteed values here, but the guaranteed income is always going to be the same no matter what you choose. So I'm going to take this example for now. I can do minimum required distributions also, but since I'm planning to take income, I'm not going to use that example for now. And you can put AGI. Okay. Here, variable assumed index returns or level assumed index returns. So here I'm going to look at what if the values of these are, let me see here. If the index returns are going to be these, then what are we going to do? And of course, everything is based on the most recent 12 years. Okay, so let's save this one and let's run the illustration. So while I'm doing that, let me just see if I can find that way to explain the participation. I think I recently. And yes, you can ask questions. Feel free to. Okay, hopefully this is done. Man, it's taking its own sweet time. Okay. Maybe I'll just go back to, I had a couple of illustrations I ran, but I thought I'm going to run this example. No. Oh, so so this is what I was looking for, guys. So I found it. It's in the same one. Okay. Simple. Understand the crediting methods. Index cap means the cap is index change is 10%, but the cap is 5%. We're going to get only 5% returns. Participation rate. Participation rate is 40%. So index change is 10% times 40. So if we're going to get 44% return. Spread. So the example we just saw, it says a spread. Spread of here, its spread is 4%. That means index change minus 4%. In the previous one where we saw, it's like 0.75. So they removed 0.75 from the returns. Combined par rate and spread. So first of all, they're going to multiply the participation rate and then take out the spread. Right? Participation rate, it has both. So you multiply the participation rate and then take out the spread here. Here, trigger rate. Again, very few companies do this. Trigger rate means index change is zero. At least zero, you get 5%. If it's positive, it has to be more than zero. Means positive number or zero, then you'll get 5%. Anything be more than if it's a positive, you get 5%. If it's a negative, you get zero. Simple. This the trigger is simple. Here you just do this. So these are the mostly used creating methods. The one we are using for the one we're running is called the participation method. Again, here there's less participation. There is more participation because the one I chose is a 3-year part. So you're going to get that only after 3 years. So let me go back to this. Finally, we have this illustration. So if you go to the first page in the illustration, again, the client's age and based on the chart, again, this has a 1.1% charge. The charge is only on the accumulated value, not on the guaranteed growth. So I'll explain you what that means is if 30% bonus and then 9.5% growth, right? Oh, there's 1% charge, so it's just 8.85% growth, right? No, it's not. The guaranteed portion is still growing at that. There is no charge in that section. Only your money, where money you are putting in that accumulation value, you have that charge. So based on the indices we choose, based on the most recently, it's growing at an average of 9.86. And we had other two illustrations. What if the returns are only 7.56 and sometimes the one which is 5.37. So we're not telling you, hey, what if this is the actual accumulation value, but income is going to be guaranteed. We're going to look at that. And free withdrawal schedules. So let's say the client is 60 years old and here in this case it's only 50, of course. But he can, if he wants, he can take about 7%. That means every year he can take $35,000 out and not have any penalties. But since he's only 50 years old, of course they'll have an IRS penalty. Nationwide is not going to be any penalty if you're taking money out up to 7%. Right? Let's say if he wants 10% of the money, right? Now that $15,000 more will have the 10% penalty from Nationwide also. Hopefully that's clear, that's straightforward and clear. So two things here we're talking about is surrender schedule is one thing, and then free withdrawal. Free withdrawal up to 7% you can take out every year. Let's say the client is 60 plus, of course, and then he puts in all the money and then every year he can take out 7%. But surrender schedule means, you know what, let's say in the third year also, if he says, you know what, I don't want anything to do with this, I want my money back, he's going to have more. Let's say if you take here in the 12th plus year, it becomes zero. Hopefully you guys can see it. Right? In the 12th plus year, there's zero. But if I take 8-year product, in the ninth plus year, it'll be zeros. Vijay, you have a question?
Yes. My question is that the free withdrawal rate is different than the guaranteed income rate, right?
Correct. This is just in case you're not turning the income on and say you want to wait for 5 years, 10 years before you turn the income, but you have an emergency right now and you want access to some money and they will give you access to 7% of the money every single year
Okay.
until you're in to start the income.
All right. Can you explain a little bit more about the rider charges? Because anytime people see charges, they want to know why charges, what charges, how they work.
Yeah, the chart. Let me go to the actual illustration here. So these are the three different ones we chose. We put 20% in all these strategies, and each strategy has this participation rate. So here, whatever the Goldman Sachs returns in a 3-year index, let's say they're going to multiply that with 265 to get the rate of return for that 3-year period. So your account is going to be growing only every 3 years. They'll say, "Oh, wait a minute! Like, what's happening every year? Every year it's not going. Yes, it's growing, but you're not being credited to your account." So we'll look at that also. Here in Nasdaq, you have 70% only. If this index changes 10%, you're only going to get 7%. Let's say in this Luminous index, if that grows 10%, you're going to get 17.5%. right? Like, why not put everything here? Like, why not put everything here? But let's see what this index does. If the index returns only 2%, then it's better to put and 2 times 460, 265. But this index performs 10%. Maybe this is 7, but this is a better option, right? So we need to look at the historical returns of these indexes and what are we multiplying it to get the actual returns. We'll look at that also. So let's go to the next page here. Again, you can read through all these things, how these indexes and all. It says, please read important about illustrations, historical performances, higher interest rates. So all these things, go through that, guys. This is what we're going to talk about is hypothetical and guaranteed lifetime income payouts analyzed. So the client is 50 years old. If he waits only 6 years and starts taking income, he's going to get this much. If he waits for 8 years, ideally he should wait until 15 and a half or close 60. Then he should be getting about $61,000 per year for the rest of his life, guaranteed, right? So basically they're saying is, hey, you are getting about 12%, 12.2% of your actual money you put. You put $500,000, we're giving you every 12% every single year for the rest of your life, guaranteed. Again, the more he waits, the more guaranteed income he's going to have. And the second one here is based on the most recent 10-year returns, you could get up to here, and they did that change. For the 10 years, I mean, it doesn't matter how much, based on the 12 years, whatever we are getting, 61,000 is the best option we have. That's the maximum. He is not going to get anything. So we can look at different indices and see, hey, if I put in a different indice, well, will I be getting more money? We'll look at that examples also, the next illustrations. You know what? Okay, so let's do one thing at a time. Again, this is another option, right? So there are three different options. Choose control. If you're using a level assumed index return, here this is what the returns are going to be. But in the first, all these cases, this is all the same. The numbers are all the same because the the guaranteed income is the best option, still performing there. Okay, Vijay, question? Oh, you're still there.
I guess. The guaranteed compound roll-up rate, that is the 9.5 rate, right? And the most recent 12-year and the level assumed index return, those are different rate based on the indexes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this example, the first few years from age 56 to, I guess, 64-ish, the guaranteed portion is working better than the other. That's the reason they're the same lifetime.
No, no. Whatever the guaranteed portion, that is the best option. So in these things also, they're saying, hey, that's the best option. So they put the same numbers for these. Yeah. And in the second here, in if the client waits until, let's say, age 66, 16 years later, a guaranteed 87, but here you could get up to 92. In all the other previous years, the guaranteed portion is the best performing portion right now. So if the client waits until 16 years, and if the returns are based on the most recent returns, and he could get up to 92 instead of 87 guaranteed. But in all the three cases, guaranteed is the best. So they put the guaranteed only. Okay, so let's go down here to this is what has happening in this is you put $500,000 with the 30% bonus, you got your income value went up to 650. And every year it's going up to 9.5. And if the client waits until age 62 and starts income, again, both husband and wife, if this is only 1%, this is going to be more. Instead of $73,000, same thing. Sorry, it's going to be more. The income is based on the age. For example, a 55-year-old puts in the same $500,000 and waits the same 12 years. They're going to get more income based on their age. Even though they put me and the person, this is, I'm 50, I put the same $500,000. A 55-year-old put the same $500,000. We both wait until 12 years. But based on his age, he's going to get more income, guaranteed income percentage per life, right? Because of the age, because they look at the life expectancy. Based on the life expectancy, he will be getting more income. Good. So now let's go down to the guarantee portion of it, guys. Here, you, again, assuming 0% returns. Let's say we put the money in, there's no returns. So what's happening here is you have $500,000 there with the bonus. This is 650. This is the one high point income base. Let me make sure if I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay, it's too much, I guess. Okay, so here, first line, this is the high point. This is what is growing at 9.5. So until 10 years, it grows. From the 11th year, we are going to use the same number to give based on the 3.79. I'm going to get this much income for the rest of my life, right? And that's if husband and wife, any one of them are living, you're going to get this income. Now, let's see what happens to my account value. Let's say my account value is $500,000, and here you see the charge that 1 point. That's why the second year, for some reason, if I said, you know what, I don't like this option, I want my money back, my account value first of all went down by 1.1%. Second thing is cancellation charges. There is a 10% cancellation charge. This is what I'm going to end up with. But God forbid the person passes away, the family is still going to get $500,000, no matter what, right? There is always a $500,000, but if for some case where there is no growth, every year the account is going down by 1.1%. And now, let's say if I took a 8-year product, surrender charge, or it means if I could have done 10-year also, but if I took a 8-year product, what happens is, hey, even though no matter what, in the 8th year, if you don't want this, we will give you a, so they will make this, for example, if in the 8th year here, they will make this $500,000 surrender value. Even though they don't, even though there's no returns, what they're saying is if you wait until the calendar, whatever, 8, 10, 12, the period of the annuity you selected, even though there is no returns, we're going to give you that principal, whatever you put in, because they know for sure it's definitely be more than that. That's why they're giving that guarantee. But worst case scenario also, after the 12th, in this case, after the 12th year, if he doesn't start the income, in the 12th year, he's definitely guaranteed, even though his account value is going down every year by 1%, he will still get that $500,000 back. Any question on this one? Good. So now he starts the income. He starts about $61,000 and he's taking. Now, if God forbid, nothing is growing, and if both of them pass away in the year, fourth year, one, two, three, fourth year, they only got about $240,000 about out and then passed away. So basically, what we're looking at is 14 years of no returns. Again, it's impossible scenario, but if it happens, this is where a lot of people are not comfortable with. Like if they say, "Hey, what happens this one?" There are other options. If there are clients like that, there is another solution from CoreBridge where you would at least get this kind of returns. But we can talk about that. There's a different product later. But this is an impossible scenario to be happening here, right? So now let's look at the based on the last 12 years. How is this value growing? Right here, there's absolutely nothing. That's why, but still, we are guaranteeing you that 61,000. So I have a piece. If I give the solution to my client, I have a peace of mind. No matter what happens, the client is definitely getting his income. So now let's look at based on the last. Maybe I'm going to go to the next one. If there's a little bit less returns here, 7. So it's two based on the last 12 years. It's 8.86. In this case, let's stay with this one. So what happened in the first year still, because there's two things happening here. There's one thing is called daily accumulation value. Every year, every day they're looking at is, hey, are these 5 indexes growing? If the index grow, they're going to lock in that rate every single day. So at the end of, because I chose a 3-year index. So at the end of third year is only I'm going to get it credited. But in the first year, these indexes went up 11%. So that's why this is going to be this 504, 500 became 547. Here, the guaranteed stays the same as what you had in before. The guarantees column is exactly what is there before in 0% also. Now, in the first year, it went up 11%. Great. Now, but daily cumulative. So if I there is a contract value still went down 1%. So for some reason at the end of the first year, if I say if I want to cancel my policy, I'm still getting only this much, 465. But the death benefit happens now, I'm going to get the 547 because this is where my indexes grew. Even though my account does not get credited, I'm still getting this one. Now let's look at the second year. Second year also there is no this my account value. This is the contract value. My account value went down because I chose a 3-year indexes. Nothing is credited onto my account until the third year. So now it went up another 39%. Now this is how much it's going to be. Now here is the contract value, but look at the surrender value. It's more than $558,000. Why? Because the contract surrender value is also based on your daily accumulation value. They're not looking at your contract value and say, wait a minute, your account is not credited. That's why it's going to list. No, they're going to still use the daily accumulation value and then get this one. And then the last one, the third year is when your account is actually going to be created. So the third year, the total credit is 665 and the account value is 665. And based on this, the surrender value is 603. But the death benefit is going to be based on this maximum is 665. In all these cases, still, see, what they're telling you here is if this value is going to be more than this, they're going to use this value to compute your income. All these cases, this value is still bigger than because they have the bonus and the growth happening at 9.5. This is he's still higher. So that's what's happening. So one question I had here now is normally I thought this is going to be growing 676. Again, it's 665. It's lesser a little bit. I was thinking this is going to be more because every 3 years, all these values are going to be same. It's the same here. I mean, of course, it's a surrender charge, that's why it's less. Normally the daily accumulation value and the contract value. So whatever the index is, this one. So I don't know if Anuj you're here, you can answer any of this question. Why did it go? I thought this is always going up. But if it went up by end of second year 676, why is 665 here? That's one question I think I need to get answer with. Vijay, you had a question?
Yeah, on that daily accumulation value, where you that 12% growth.
It's hard to hear, Vijay.
I know that's part of the reason. There we go. So, okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, a little bit better.
Yeah. So in that the daily accumulation value, you mentioned the first year with 11% growth. 11% would give you $550,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the value is showing 547,000. So is
That
there
has a
some
1.1%
additional fees?
charge, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just confirming. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is the charge is not there on the high point balance. It's not there.
Hmm.
But here you have the charge. So what happening here is, and until we have started income here, when we came to this year in the year 17, now my daily accumulation value is more. Now they're going to use that value to compute the income. That's why I'm getting more income now. I start getting more income. Once this value grows, daily accumulation value. So the beauty of this one is if you want to get income, of course, guaranteed income is one, and also the death benefit. Here again, means the 9.86 is very aggressive. We can look at the indexes and see which ones are the better. But let's say if I got about 7.56 returns. Now, still, my income is not changing though, but I still have a death benefit. Like who wouldn't want to have a $500,000 enjoy if they live both of them if any one of them lived until age until their age 80s for the next 30 if they live for 30 years they got about $1.2 million out as income plus they're giving about $669,000 to as a death benefit to their beneficiaries, right? So again if it has to perform at 6.56, suppose it performs less, let's say if they performs at only 5.37, they're still getting this guaranteed income, but there is no more death benefit. Again, this is not a death benefit kind of solution. This is a guaranteed income solution. Yes, it could happen. We could get up to 7.56. right? And get both of these, or it could be up to 9.86, and you could get a lot more in death benefit here. Death benefit, a lot more in income also. Both of these things happening. Okay. Oh, Vijay, question again?
I'm sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So now let's look at the indices. So here, based on the last 12 years, this is what they looked at. All the five indices combined, it's these are how much is credited. So it's about 9.86. And if you look at this each index now, Goldman Sachs, the three-year index, how did it do? The lowest, the most recent, and the highest. So the most recent, the index change was only 3.5%. Because of the participation rate, you get 8.64. Same thing here is the lowest. It's not much changes. Again, if you look at the highest year, again, they looked at the last 20 years. So basically, if they look at years from 2002 to 2004, again, when they look at 12 years, when they look at consecutive 12 years, they're not going to pick and choose the 12 years, right? So if we have invested in this period, 2002 to 2014, we would have gotten about 10% returns in the index itself. That means you would have gotten 24% credited to my account. But based on the last most recent 12 years, the index change was 3.5 multiplied by participation rate is 8.64. So we can look at the most recent ones and say, hey, which are the most performing indices? So this is about 8.64. I like that one. This one is only 5.95. No, I like the Goldman Sachs. This is what I'm doing is again, and next year I could change it. Goldman Sachs. Again, this I can change only for every 3 years because I chose a 3-year index. This one, SG Macro, is 4.5. It's giving 7.67. That's okay. It's not bad. And then this one is Luminous. So most recent, 9.55. And I've got created 15%. I could put more money into this index instead of equally putting into it. And then the last one, NASDAQ, the returns are 11%, but we have only 70% participation rate. That's why the returns are only 8%. So you could take off a couple of things and you could increase the other ones. There is one more concept, guys. Besides the surrender charge, there's something called a market value adjustment. So normally, let's say I put $500,000 after the end of the first year. Let's say there's no growth. I want to take money back. I should be getting, this is based on this one, that 10%. Meaning is, let's look at the guaranteed ones. So I should be getting 450, right? 450 first year. No, after the first year, I'm getting 446. And sometimes there is something called a market value adjustment. Meaning is, again, if you can read through that one, it'll talk about is based on the index change. Sorry, let me see which one it is. Here, based on the what is it called? Interest rates, you could get a positive number or a negative number. So besides the 10%, you may have other charge where it brings your total surrender charge to a different number. Okay, go ahead, Nima. Sure.
Hi, this is Prashil.
Uh-huh.
Just one question is that does the client, after a sec, if it's 3 index, does the client go and change the index fund or by themselves?
Yes, actually, I don't have not familiar with this one, but you could require actually 1 year. I thought we changed it. Again, client has to wait for 3 years to change it.
Yeah.
Yes, means I'm not sure if it's automatic or we can do it online or we can contact means client can contact or as a professional we also can contact the nationwide to make the changes. But since a 3-year
Hmm.
index, I can only do it every 3 years.
Okay.
But any
And
one
the
of
other
us can
question
do it.
was, yeah, this is the early on you were talking about the option is like 10-year, 12-year.
Mhm.
Yesterday we were working on a illustration, and I think that is also state dependent, right? It depends on the
Yes.
state.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Some
Okay.
don't have a 12-year. then
What
then
is the reason for that?
again, it's the approval for the states. Each state's approved differently based on the clientels they have. So yes, I'm not sure exactly though, but that product is not approved for that state. It's like three different products basically, and some of the say if they look at, hey, this is not useful for our clients, and that state is not approving it, so they only have that state. So if the client does not have a 12-year, I go with a 9-year versus a 10-year product because I see the more again you can run it both the illustrations, a 9-year illustration and a 10-year illustration, and see if you select the same indexes, which one is getting more returns. You can always check that more participation rate and more returns.
Just a quick question, clarification. Why between 10 and 9? Not just go to 10.
Because 10 has the 2-year index. 2-year index has a less participation rate.
Okay,
The 2-year, like 10-year product does not have a 3-year index. It has a 1-year index and a 2-year index only. 2-year index has
I
less
see.
participation rate.
I see. Okay. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
but yeah, please compare both. Means let's say the same Goldman Sachs, you have a 2-year index and a 10-year product versus in a 9-year product, you have a 3-year index. The same thing here. This is a 3-year index, right? But it's a 12. If I run the same illustration for a 9, this is little bit less. Actually, I did run. I have one more example. If I here, this is a new one, but I thought I ran a couple of examples yesterday for you to show. That's where I decided here. This is a 12 one. If I go back to this is a 9-year index. In a 9-year index, if I go look at the participation rate, it's going to be 160. I chose these three indexes only because this is best performing. Luminous is 160, Goldman Sachs 260, and 180. So let's say Luminous is 160 and Goldman is 260. The one we ran, Luminous is 175 instead of 160, and Goldman Sachs is 265 instead of 260. So a little bit more. Both are 3 indexes, but since I selected a 12-year, it is giving me more participation. Okay, Bivin, go ahead.
In that in this page, the index allocation and participation rate is the same, right?
No,
That's the
participation rate is
participation.
different. See, this is a 12-year one. We have Goldman Sachs is saying 265 and Luminous is saying 175. If I select a 9-year product, the Goldman Sachs is saying 260.
Yeah. I was asking the participation rate is nothing but the index allocation. It's the same
Yeah.
return.
Means
Yeah. Okay.
the index allocation is means what index? I'm like, for example, I said, you know what, I'm going to put everything in Luminous because that's giving me the best returns. That's the index allocation. Participation is what am I multiplying with
Oh, okay. Okay.
to get the actual returns?
Yeah. Okay. Another question, Venkat. There is this free withdrawal of 7%, you said, right, in the beginning. That
Mhm.
7% of what?
Of the accumulated value.
Okay.
So here, let's me go down here. Let's say if there is no returns, and I'm looking at here, like for let's say 480, if there's 7% of the 484
Okay. Contract value, not the
contract
daily
value.
application. Okay. Okay. And one more question. So in this illustration, let's say, for example, it is showing free withdrawal at I mean, not free withdrawal, the income at age, um, what, 10 years? Or it is showing, right, after 12 years.
11th year, from 11th year onwards.
11th year. Is there a way in the illustration that we can tune it? Let's say, for example, in that summary page in the beginning, it shows, okay, if you take a 10th year this much, 15th year this much, 20th year this much, but here it just picks a rate, right? So can we show can we, in the illustration when we run, is there a knob to tune saying that, okay, the client is going to take it at 15th year or 20th year? So that's easy to explain here.
Oh, I mean, so here it shows everything, right? If the
Correct.
client.
Yeah, here it shows. But
Mhm.
my question is, let's say the client says, okay, I'm going to take at the 20th year, if he's certain, is there a way that when we run the illustration, we can set that value so that in that table below, it picks the 20th value, 104K, and then adds it up?
No, but the thing is, see, if I wait until the 20th year, it's going to show that, sure. But see, since I started at age 10th year, 11th year, 10-year difference, 11th year, it's showing this much. That's why but if I waited until the 20th year, of course, it's going to show the 104 from the 20th year.
Yeah, I was asking in the illustration, is there a way to show that?
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we did, right? Let me go back here. This is what I said, 10th year, 10-year difference. Instead of that, you put a 20-year difference. Of course, you're going to show it from the 20th year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to wait until 70 now to take my
Okay.
income.
Okay, here is what will change. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then 20th year, that's where I'm going to start the income. Yes, yeah, you can do that.
Okay. I had one more question. Oh yeah. So the income once it starts, that withdrawal per year that remained the same, right? It will not go up because in the as per this illustration, because I remember in one of the sessions that Sean took, I think it was with Alliance or something, he showed that even if the fund grows, it will still keep on going, the income withdrawal.
Here, no, no, here it will not grow. But if you look at this example based on the last 12 years, most recent 12 years, yes, in the here it starts growing, the income starts growing here.
Ah, okay.
If
Okay,
it does,
got it.
if it grows at 8.6, but the returns are only 7.56, now because this value is never more than $1.6 million, that's why it is still the same.
Okay.
Right? But other thing is, if it goes like it's only like 5.37, like very little. Again, if that happens, then your income is always guaranteed, but there is no more. So in this case, if you run out of your principal, your income will never grow. It means the only way to grow here is here. Your daily accumulation value has to be more than this. Then only it will grow. If you run out of
Okay.
money or if it's less, it will not grow. Right? If you go
Okay.
to Athene, that's the one you're saying is even though there is no return, no money here, if the market grows up by 2%, this value will grow by 2%. So it will keep on, even though the money is, you run out of money, this is still going to be growing. But again, in that one, the guaranteed income is less. So again, each one is different. So this one, you're getting this product mainly for, you know what, I want guaranteed income. I don't want to be surprised when 10 years later, oh, Mr. Client, your account did not grow. Yeah, you don't have much. No, I don't want to be surprised. I want to know today itself, what is my income going to be if I wait for 10 years? That's when the use case is. Again, again, we already at 10 o'clock. Mainly is you have to run illustrations only. That's when you can see it. So if I go back to this one, what I would be planning to do is because I don't like a couple of indexes, I can always say, you know what, I'm going to take a few indexes. I think I'm going to keep this one, remove this one, and maybe I'm going to remove the SG macro also, or I can just keep it like this, 25% each. Or I can say, you know what, this is performing well. I'm going to put 40% in this one, maybe 30% in this one, and then maybe 15% the rest. So again, we can do this, but you can only do it every 3 years because I chose only 3-year index.
Trying to question here, probably. This nationwide all new height products, 8, 9, 10, 12, it's only and only for those person who is looking for guaranteed income, right?
Yes.
The person who is young, it's not a good product or still it is a good product, or we should, for accumulation, we should go for different product like Athene,
Yeah.
performance.
So
Yeah.
again, if you call Annexus, they say for guaranteed income product only choose this one. If you want a accumulation product, choose a North American product. North
Yeah.
American also has annuities.
Can we say in a straight one line for person who is looking for next 30 years, their money should be accumulated. It's not a great product. So this
Yeah.
is just for the client who is looking guaranteed income. So
Yes.
people don't get confused
Yeah.
because I see that even
Mm-hmm.
the 40-year guy is running a nationwide just because of 9.5. We need to make it clear 9.5 is what is this for? Why NXS is promoting? There is a separate segment of clientele who is looking this solution. The same solution cannot use for the 40-year people because they will be surprised, right? If they don't get the accumulation for next 40 years. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so people, I saw that people ask a lot of questions. So I just wanted to bring this point so that everybody get aware of that.
yeah, this is mainly for clients. Means again, if it's mid 40s, actually upper 40s, like 46, 48, they know, you know what, I don't want to take risk. I will be turning income as soon as the 12 means as soon as they turn 15 and a half or 60, I'm turning income. That those are people, or the later, yeah, I mean, the people who are in 60s, you know what, I'm going to turn on income, maybe 3 years, 4 years. So I don't know how long I'm because I love my job, but I may quit anytime. As long as he's more than 60, he can turn on income whenever he wants. He doesn't need to. Most of the other products, if you take a 7 year product, you have to wait for 7 years. Like if you say take a teen 7 income product, you have to wait 7 years. If you take a teen 10, you have to wait 10 years. This has flexibility. You can start income after 1 year, provided you are 60 plus, because that's when otherwise you have that penalty. But you can still start the income, but if you're okay to pay the penalty from to IRS, but these guys don't have any penalties. So the only thing is the penalty is only when you are surrendering the policy. That's it. So I think that's all, guys. I'm going to stop the recording.